welcome in on this Monday. Dennis Fithian with you here. It's good afternoon, Michigan football, and it was a great weekend. We know that. That was Jim Harbaugh talking about rolling into the victory over Penn State with his impressive running backs. And welcome in. It's great to be here with you on the Maize and Blue Review, Michigan Maize and Blue Review. Good afternoon. As it's Michigan football today, as we take you over the next hour, and we'll talk a little bit about the Wolverines. We'll talk all about the Wolverines' victory over Penn State. We'll look forward as well to Michigan State. We do know that game is now officially going to be at 7:30 on October the 29th. So it will be a night game. Joe was saying 7-0, win the bye week, and then it's on to the next. And, I hear you. I hear you on that. Lyle's prediction of 49-10 wasn't all that off. And, Jason enjoying the weekend, still can't believe it. So Michigan fans disgruntled that Tennessee is number 3. They deserve it. We will not move an inch until we lose or beat to Ohio. It is what it is. Great win. Hey, look, man, if you're complaining about Michigan being number 3 in the country, you just like complaining, and it's okay. People like complaining. Some people will contend that, half of the fun of college football is complaining. I mean, people were complaining last week, about Michigan. How could Clemson, but in a lot of, people, Michigan media was right there with them, leading the charge. Like, this is outrageous. And hey, I was just sitting back like, wow, man, people are really that worked up about it. But hey, you want to get worked up. Sometimes, you get worked up. You're used to getting worked up. And, there's nothing to get worked up about the coaches having Michigan at 3. But what about the media? Somebody screwed up there. I hope you had a great weekend. If you're a Michigan fan, you should have had a great weekend. You should be having a great Monday, even though the weather's not nice outside or anything else. It was a great weekend for Michigan football. Michigan football with a gigantic flex as a program with the way they handled Penn State. And even if, this is hard to do, but if I just take Michigan and put them over here for 1 second, it was still a great weekend of college football with everything that went on. Then you put Michigan into the mix, and then everything, it just gets enhanced, and 4-5K resolution, and just the colors are brighter, the pageantries, everything tastes a little sweeter. I mean, it's the kind of thing you live for if you're a college football fan. And then if your team happens to be in the mix and 7-0, it's coming off their most impressive victory. All of that just fits right into it, and it's fabulous. We'll be talking with former Wolverine Jim Scarcelli in a moment. It's always great to have Scar in, and we will be discussing Michigan running away from Penn State. And here he is. How you doing, Scar?
Hey, we're fired up. Big win, 7-0. Got the Spartans on deck. Everybody's healthy. I mean, it couldn't be better if you're a Wolverine fan. Everything is good.
Well, you say that, and people have said that over the years. It's great to be in Michigan Wolverine, all that. But as it's sitting right now, when the coaches poll came out and Michigan's sitting at number 3, I think there might not be. There haven't been many times that it's been this great to be a Michigan fan. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I know. We've been struggling here. We got one championship in the last 15 years or so. So, Jim is trying to get us to the level where we're competing year in, year out, and hopefully we can maintain the trajectory of the program.
There you go. What are we talking about today? Well, we'll get to the backyard brawl. Both teams with a bye, and they will clash at the Big House coming up on October the 29th. We'll get to that. We'll look back to Saturday and some of the pomp and circumstance. 97 celebration. You had Woodson. You had the Lloyd Carr Tunnel dedication. We'll see what Coach Scarcelli had to say about that. Then we'll get to the Telestrator with some film analysis. That is very educational, fast-moving, and fun. We look forward to that every Monday, but we'll start with Michigan and Penn State. Pretty good place to start. Michigan wins this game 41-17, but they only gave up 3 points in the second half, you've had a little while to think about it and everything that happened on Saturday afternoon. You were feeling pretty good Saturday after the game, Scar. Are you still sky high?
Yeah, I'm even feeling better about the some of the things I've seen after I just looked at some more film, and we saved some things for Penn State. I'm seeing it now. There were little tweaks that we saved, some plays we saved, some formations we saved, and some of those basic formations that we hadn't really shown, but it gave Penn State trouble. And I don't have all of them drawn up, but there were some times our coaches gave our players a schematic advantage. That's an old Charlie Weiss line, a schematic advantage. And I just really like some of the things our coaches did to give us a man advantage on some plays and some formations. And we ran the power play beautifully because of it many times. We saw, and Denny, I called it earlier in the year. I said, listen, that's why I always wanted two quarterbacks that we can count on, because I said this orgy package is going to be the JJ package when we're playing Penn State, Michigan State, and Ohio State. We're gonna want to run those plays. We don't want to make a living out of it because he's our starting quarterback. But those plays really stress the defense, and we ran. And I got it drawn up. We're going to take a look at it, but we ran some some of the Lamar stuff. So that was good to see, because all those, when the Buckeyes and the Spartans see that those plays are in now with JJ, it adds to the headaches of them, having to defend us. But, I just really like some of the things our coaches did to give our plays an advantage on offense. And then defensively, there was really a tight rotation. There was not many guys that were really, there are a few edge players worked in, but our rotations are tighter and tighter and tighter for a game like this. But it's just amazing how we're, I said it yesterday, but it's just amazing how we were able to make them one-dimensional, and we got them into where they just got so frustrated. And even when they had short yardage situations, I mean, they had the ball on the 5-yard line. It took them 4 cracks to get in there, and just converting little short yardage situations. Nothing was easy for them. And so much of that is I'm looking at technique that we're playing, and we out techniqued them, man. Mike Elston and our front defensive line and the adjustments we made with I just think our defensive coaches did a better job adjusting and teaching technique than their defensive coaches. And it was obvious.
Yeah, well, it was a dominating, really, first half performance, save the 2 plays that ended up making it a 2-point game, and then ended up being a dominating performance in the second half. But the difference, Michigan made a bunch of big plays, and they really clamped down defensively as well, just allowing that first drive field goal for Penn State. But after that first drive field goal in the second half, Michigan's offense, they get Penn State off the field on downs, but sandwiched in between that, you get 2. If you want to do everything in football, but having explosive plays of 50 or more, and Edwards taking one to the house, and they get the stop, and then Corum comes back and he takes one to the house. The electricity with the fans, and after the way Michigan played in the first half, I know they had some time to go, and you might have thought it was over when Edwards was streaking down the field. You certainly may have thought it was over when you saw Corum do that after Michigan stopped him. But, everything was it was a real just electric, I think 10 minutes of real time for Michigan there in the second half. I'm with you. After going back, I watched the first half. There were a lot of people saying, you got to be able to, and I agree. You don't want to settle for field goals. You want to be able to get touchdowns. Those are things that are important in big games. But the people that were complaining about some of the play calls on both of those third downs, you say, use your talent, be creative. That play where they have Donovan Edwards in motion and he comes back, and if McCarthy puts it on him, I think that one's going to go in for a score. Yeah. And then running that stuff down to the goal line with the shovel pass, Michigan hadn't done that all year long. They do that in the pros. The Chiefs do it. They love doing it. Mahomes loves doing that.
Well, Danny, they had I didn't draw that one play up, but they had the perfect defense. And sometimes that just happens. But I like that they put that play in, but I don't like rolling to the right, pitching it with the right hand. You got to roll to your left, pitch it with the right,
Oh,
to the right, pitch with the left. I don't understand. Maybe JJ has trouble pitching it with his left hand. I'm glad the play is in. I would run it off the same action that Maryland did, though, against us. That play is good. It's a problem. It's a problem to defend.
yeah, there are really, there were two plays this year, and you mentioned, you remember back in the Iowa game when it was a 3rd and 1, and Iowa had a loaded run box, and Michigan kind of ran right into it. They were like, the hell with it, we're going to run, we're going to get this yard no matter what. I didn't care for that one, and then there was a 2nd and goal, Michigan's second time where they had to get the second field goal and settle for that one before that shuffle pass. They brought in an extra offensive lineman, Giovanni El Hadi, and they ran it like it looked like they were going to run it right to the left. Everybody was bunched in there. I mean, there was nothing else. Everybody was bunched in there. It was like, it looks like Michigan's just going to try to push them off the line, and they're going to run right over to this power side on the left, and that's what they did. And Jair Brown blew it up. I mean, he made a nice play. That would be the one. Other than that, all of this, like, utilize your wide receivers, utilize your talent, be creative, and all this, I thought they were. I thought that, that was close to. Of course, you want to be able to get it into the end zone there. But other than that, this was it was like a masterpiece for Michigan playing, at home against Penn State. The way they ran the ball, the way they played on defense, they get high marks, big time for the way they played on Saturday.
Yeah, and don't ever forget what we are offensively. I mean, we are a power play, inside zone, isolate. That's what we are, man, and that's what we are, and we've been running it all year. We stand for something. We're not the kind of Jim is not the kind of guy to I saw this on I saw the Oakland team or the Vegas Raiders do this play. I'm going to put that. He's not that guy. We run what we run. It's in. And we just going to continue to perfect it, and it's great. It's a great offensive scheme to what we're going to need to do to beat the Buckeyes. So I thought the play calling was great. I thought the formations, the adjustments, the problems we gave them was awesome. I mean, we never punted, so I am on board fully with what we're doing offensively.
No, you probably like the coaches across the country who have voted and have Michigan in the top 3. Michigan fans will have to, attack the media for, having Michigan just as the number 4 team. What an injustice, having the Wolverines there. The coaches doing a good job this week, having them up there.
Benny, I'll say this. I remember, when my last year, we ended up being number 2 at one time. We played Iowa. They were number 1. I just know as a player, I mean, you're just so involved. You got school. You're going to school all morning. Then you're coming down and you're practicing. You're looking at film and you're listening to coach put the game plan in. Your mind is just so full of other things. I just was not even. Yeah, I knew where we were ranked, but it's not something that, for me, I'm going to speak for me as a player, that I was dwelling on in any way, shape, or form. You got so many responsibilities of understanding the game plan for that week and taking care of your schoolwork. And you just got enough on your plate to worry about what some writer's saying about you. Let's just win the next game. I got to believe that's where the focus is for those players. Have a great practice, win the next game, and let the other people worry about that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I get that from a players and coaches perspective. There's no doubt about that. But from a fan perspective, like, if we took 10 fans and talked with them and said, look, if Michigan wins all of these games, it's not going to matter. They're going to be there. They'll be in the college football playoff. They will be in the Big Ten championship, all the things that you want. So it doesn't matter if Michigan was ranked 6th this week or 5th, you don't have to go out of your mind. And yet, fans that, they love to feel like, they're being respected, that they're getting the ultimate respect. And there can be just a little hint. And the polls are a great example. The next thing you know, it's like, this guy is a complete SEC honk, or whoever you want to label them. It's mostly just fun. It gives fans something. They talk about the games. They talk about everything. They love, the disrespect card, which is a good one to take us into our next topic, and that is the backyard brawl. Scar, you're from Michigan. You went to Michigan, so you've had to work with and deal with people that went to Michigan State, are Michigan State fans, and everyone has a little bit of stake in this game, whether you went to one of the schools or not. Everybody's declaring something over the next 2 weeks. A lot of people think this is real bad rivalry, not a good rivalry. How do you see the rivalry just from taking a step back and somebody that played in it with Michigan and Michigan State? What do you tell people?
My perspective as a former player that I found was, the in-state guys, that game matters a lot. Okay. We had so many Ohio guys when I played, the Ohio State game, they both matter to Michigan football players. There's no question. Those two games, more than any games on our schedule, Bo highlighted them. And I think every coach we've had understands the importance of those games. Now, the Ohio State game when I played was hard hitting, really good football players. There was no talk on the field. You respected the heck out of each other. Tough. You knew you were you were playing the best. We'll get into that game later on. But the Michigan State game, now I have some friends that played at Michigan State that I respect, that are good guys, that are, good people. They were good players, and I respect them. But when you get into that game, there were, and again, I don't want to generalize about all Michigan State guys, but there were guys that were mouthy. It's one of the only games I ever played in where there was mouth. Okay. But I don't want to generalize and say every guy that played for Michigan State comes with the mouth, but we dominated them back then. But the game is an ugly, nasty, we hate you game.
Yes.
No question. There's no question. They're giving everything they got. They got that. I tell you, Danny, when I was going on my recruiting trips, this is when I knew I wanted Michigan was special. When I go on my recruiting trips, when I go to Michigan State and they get all their pictures in their football building, the guy's making a catch, it's against a Michigan guy. Guy's making a tackle, it's against a Michigan guy. You go to Illinois, I went there on my visit, same thing. They're making catches against the Illinois guy. Wisconsin, the same thing. But anyway, this game is a heated, hated, passionate game. The issue, I remember how enthused that week of practice was. So to think about it from a 2-week perspective, it's interesting that I wonder what the approach he's taken here, because I know mentally that was an emotional week. It was it was not in any way, shape, or form hard to get up for practice. It's the only time all year when I played that we practiced at the stadium. And it's even the Buckeyes, we practiced on our normal practice facility. But Michigan State, Bo took us up to the stadium. I bet you Jim's doing the same things like that. But we had success when I played, but we don't have Paul Bunyan. And Big Johnny used to pull the thing out once a year. We didn't display it. I think they display the thing now a little more than when I played. But the game is heated and hated and passionate, and our team will be ready. There's no question. The record is irrelevant. They're coming off an overtime win, and we're coming off a big win. But I really like our chances. But they're a team. Hey, look, Denny, I'll get into them real quick. They got a quarterback that's athletic. He's a pain in the butt, man. He's capable of having a great game and doing outstanding things. They got 2 real good running backs. Their line, I think, is average. I don't think their line's as good as it was last year. I don't think their tight ends are as good as they were in the past. They got some real good receivers, though. So our defense is going to have their hands full. Got to try to make them one-dimensional. Their defense has got some good outside skill guys that can put pressure on the quarterback. We got to get them blocked. They brought some good transfer defensive players in. Their interior line is average. I think we're going to move their front, and their linebackers, I think, are average. I think their secondary is average. I don't know that their defense is better than it. I thought maybe the defense was better than it was last year. I think it's about the same, but I'm really confident with our chances. All we got to do is secure the darn football like we've been, have a great game plan, and play smart. And I feel good about our chances.
I think people should feel good about Michigan's chances as well. And you do know when it's a rivalry, strange things can happen. But if you've been around this particular rivalry and you've seen some of it, I've seen some of it in the past. And some of the games in the past with Michigan State's like this year where they look a little down and, Michigan's playing well. There was, there have been times, and it's just been over the years. It's not just been the fans; it's been the players where they kind of look down their nose at Michigan State. It's all the little brother thing, and they take the game for granted, or they kind of laugh it off, and say, we're not going to give Michigan State any respect. We're not, valuing what they do, and I think it's cost them because Michigan State, when they had D'Antonio, he went up there and he just fed them all the disrespect and everything. Like, these guys have no respect for you, and they thrived on that and it worked for them. I even know 2 years ago, it was the pandemic year. Like, Mel Tucker comes in there. He doesn't have, he's zoomed with his team. I don't think he could have named half of his team there. If they didn't have their names on the helmets. The opening week, they play against Rutgers. They play one of the worst football games that I've ever seen. Michigan comes into that game completely overconfident, not respecting the opponents. The fans were laughing at it too. Michigan's going to win this game 50, 60 to nothing. I was thinking that it was going to be, a complete blowout as well. I think Michigan, I thought they're going to be a 30-point favorite or something. We all know what happened in that game. They lost it. And then they lost last year. So the spot that they're in, a lot of times I look at that, what's going on the outside? Are the players disrespecting, the opponent? Is Michigan State sitting up there? I don't think any of that's going on this year. I think Michigan's got a million reasons to be dialed in, focused, and give all the respect to their opponent. The first one is that Michigan's sitting 7-0 and they're trying to do, great things this year. They got a chance to do everything. So, that's number one. And number two is they lost the last 2 years to Michigan State. So there shouldn't be anybody sitting over there, thinking about, on the team or the coaches or anything. So I think they've got Michigan State's complete attention. And, the way Michigan's playing right here, if you watch the team, if you listen to them, they seem that they've got the focus, and there's not going to be any overlooking or downplaying or they're going to treat this game like they should. So all of those things, I think they're going to be locked and ready to go in 2 weeks. That's good.
Yeah, Danny. I mean, even in my era when we dominated them, I mean, Bo put major emphasis on that football game, and I just think, and I know Coach Mo and Lloyd, those guys understood the importance of it. Those guys understood the importance of that game from a recruiting standpoint. We want to dominate the state of Michigan. We want, if there's a kid that we're both recruiting. In my day, we were getting 80% of the guys that we wanted in the state. And that's why this game is so important for so many reasons. That they're in our, look, they're in our Big Ten East, they're in our conference, and then we got to recruit against them. So we want, and they can bring these transfers in, man. We can't bring undergraduate transfers in. So we got to try to keep their program, I'm going to just say it, Denny. I want their program the way it was when I played, where they're firing their coach every 3-4 years. I'm going to just keep it real with you. That's where I want them. That's why we got to beat them. We got to keep beating them. I mean, we haven't. Look, he's got Jim the last 2 years, but we got to get him, and we got to find a way to keep him down.
That's right. And, Bo figured that out, and you understood Bo his first year, he's obsessed with Ohio State, and, and that continued over the next 10 years, of course, with against Hayes or as long as he coached. And of course, everybody's going to be aware and, dialed in for Ohio State. But Bo lost to Michigan State in his first year, and he told people, hey, that's it. He is not going to take them for granted. And maybe he did take them for granted that first year. When he lost, but he didn't the rest of his career. He made sure that, they were going to treat this game with, everything that they needed to. And
Denny, I'm totally confident. We'll get into some more about them next week. I'm totally confident our chances, we'll have a good thorough breakdown of them next week.
Yeah, well, good. That sounds good to me. So we've talked about Michigan, Penn State, Michigan, and Michigan State in the backyard brawl. What about all the celebration stuff on Saturday? You had the 97 team that came out there. They were honored. Charles Woodson was honored individually. Lloyd Carr, it was 15 years since he won the the Dodd Trophy, Bobby Dodd Trophy, and he was honored for that. Of course, they named the tunnel after him, the Lloyd Carr Tunnel. What did you think of all of that? They showed some of it on TV. It was online. What did you make of that kind of celebration and honoring the championship team from 25 years ago, which of course was coached by Lloyd Carr?
Yeah, I come to some of the alumni stuff, and there's a bond there, man, of guys that played from the 50s that I've met in the 60s, and it's a real special thing, and I'm totally on board with those guys. They did a great thing. I'm all about celebrating all these different teams, and that was a great team, great defense. I know a lot of the guys that were coaching that team, and but I go way back with Lloyd Carr to see that tunnel named after Lloyd, and that tunnel it's a special thing, man. It's real high, it's real dark, it echoes. I remember the first time being in that tunnel. We were playing Notre Dame, #1 team in the country, my freshman year, boy, and you come out before the game, your final time before you're about to go on the field, and the band is in the tunnel and they're playing. And you just heard Bo give a speech. The coach gave a speech, and it's an unbelievable environment. And then you're going to trot down that tunnel and then run on the field, and it's just, you talk about adrenaline. And it takes time. There's no way I could have played as a freshman. It takes time to learn to deal with all that, all the emotions of how to put your emotions in check. But anyway, we're going to get that named after Lloyd Carr, and I go way back with Lloyd. He was an assistant when I played, and highly respected by the guys that were his that I know that were players that in the secondary when Lloyd coached, and just a guy that was liked by all the other players. Not just the positions, the guys that played him. Everybody knew Lloyd as a guy that was friendly, funny. Then he moved up. He was a coordinator, and then he became the head coach. But I've always known him because I worked the camp for so many years, and I would always see Lloyd, and we talked this and that. But then when I became a head football coach, and my first job as a head coach in high school, and I saw Lloyd at the camp, and I didn't. He's busy. He's always recruiting. He came up to me and he seeked me out. I never forget this about Lloyd, and he said, "Hey, Scar, I heard you're going to be your head coach." Yeah, so I'm talking, and he's like, he shared some information. He shared some things with me. He told me to get a book. He told me to come see him in his office, and he had a book for me. It was the Pat Riley book. I never forget the book. Lloyd was an avid reader, and he always would quote different leaders. And a lot of these coaches, a lot of people there in leadership, they like to read leadership books, but he was a big Napoleon. I remember one of his quotes: "Leadership is the art of anticipation." To anticipate, especially when you think about football. What's the other guy going to do? Anyway, he gets me this book, this Pat Riley book. But he told me, Denny, this is the one thing he talked to me about when I became a head coach. He said that we were talking about assistant coaches and this and that, and developing assistant coaches. And he said how what Bo used to do is have the guy, the position coach, he wanted to see how they taught. So he would have Lloyd stand in front of the other assistant coaches and him and say, "Okay, coach, talk about your 3-deep coverage, your 2-deep coverage. How are you teaching, tackling or rotations or this and that?" And he basically told the coach to say, "Listen, we're players. I want to hear you coach." So I did the exact same thing with my coaches, with my assistant coaches. I said, "Okay, get up here. I want to hear how you're teaching our blocking rules, our scheme, whatever." And so I did the exact same thing Lloyd talked to me about doing. So I always remembered him for that. And he came and spoke at our school. I got him to come to the school I taught at, and it was a great honor for me to introduce Lloyd. And I just love the guy, man. I know I coached against his son, and his son was in our school many times recruiting. But Lloyd is respected as a coach, as a man for many generations of Michigan football. So it's a great honor.
Yeah, I don't know what the protocol is for the Lloyd Carr Tunnel, but they had a little bit of a little bit of talking at the half with Penn State going up the tunnel, then Michigan getting up there maybe a little bit too fast, and they might want to put an extra minute or so before they allow Michigan to go up to the tunnel before, make sure that the visiting team is cleared and all the way in their locker room before they have Michigan go running up there to avoid anything like that. So you don't want to, any fights in the Lloyd Carr tunnel. All right, Scar, that was good stuff. I know that you've looked at a few plays and you've put them in the Telestrator. We're ready for some film analysis here when it comes down to the Scar of the Telestrator. And for that, we give it to the coach with the chalk as we start things out. Looks like pretty early. This looks like it has to be Michigan's first drive.
Yeah, this is our first drive, and sometimes you do things just to get a feel for their adjustments, and it was obvious. I think Penn State was really looking to get an idea where our tight ends were and be able to stop our power game. But we start the game off. I think they're overplaying our tight ends sometimes. People are concerned about our power play, and we got a lot of space in here, and we just exploit it. We get just sometimes shifting and moving, and you're trying to look and see how are they adjusting. And I just think our coaches did a great job of giving our players an advantage. Here's the next play. Let's see what we got here. Okay, this is the power play, man. It was run to perfection. Yes, Saturday, run to perfection. And we've talked about it. I just think it's a thing of beauty. This play has been around for over 100 years, and it's a thing of beauty. Tight end and tackle block, crucial. We got to get good down blocks here, Denny. You can't have these guys moving our people back, because then we can't pull our pull people. Now, in the backside, must cut off. We got to get a good job here cutting off. Anytime you pull people, because there's a seam there then that you got to occupy and keep people from getting in there where you pull people. But we have been executing this play all day Saturday. And let's take a look at it. We get good blocks here. And again, this is the ball is in the mesh point, but we've been running a lot of bubble out here off of this same action. But look at it. It holds this guy. It holds, a lot of people. They got to honor it. This guy's coming up wide because he's got to honor JJ. And these guys are flying out of here. So their pursuit over here honoring the power play is going to be slower. So this is just good stuff. And because they got to honor JJ. Anytime you got a guy that can run, this is what happens. Now we get good blocks. Corum reads the block. It's beautiful. It's a pick, it's a good 10 yards, well executed, awesome. I just want to point this out. We were going to run the ball in here. We're 3rd and 1. I just like when I see a good block. I like Scooney's just launching this dude, and we're getting movement here, man. Look at this line of scrimmage. We are moving guys. You kidding me? That's that. Denny, I could run through there. I could run through that. Look at the movement we're getting. That's Keegan in there on the left side and Hayes, just outstanding. I just wanted to point that out because those guys were. Our offensive line was awesome.
Yeah, I'm glad you're pointing it out because in the second half of those long runs, it looked like the, proverbial Mack truck that could run through them. But, that way as well, firing off the ball, sometimes just being able to get 1 yard behind that offensive line is important.
This was one of my favorite plays of the day. We always talk about having a flat wall. Here's the line of scrimmage, the blue line, and it's 3rd and 1, 34-yard line. And you're going to see Michigan just and Jenkins, you don't hear his name called, but he just destroys a double team. This tackle's not able to come off on Junior. Morris is playing everybody's playing their gap, and everybody's playing football on on the line of scrimmage. So there's no movement. I just showed you how Michigan was moving Penn State. There ain't no movement here, man. Let's take a look. Control your gap. Low man wins. Look at Jenkins in here. Okay, 94. He demands the double team. This tackle now can't come off on Junior here because he's got it. They're both stuck on Jenkins here, and Morris along with everyone else is playing their gap, but everybody's in their gap. And then the guy's got nowhere to run. Now, in Morris is playing tough into the tight end. He's playing tough into the tight end, and the back's got nowhere to go. Whereas opposed to Corum against that Penn State defense, there were a lot of gaps that he could have picked. So that was just an awesome, and that's the way you celebrate together as a team. That was just an awesome stop, because it was just a total team flat wall defense. Two tight ends, motion, like the adjustment. Let's see what's going on here. So we must have liked something in here. We got two tight ends in the game, tight end here and a tight end here. This is a different, we got them detached here, Denny. Sometimes, we hadn't shown this. Sometimes when you just do a little bit of movement like here, it creates confusion for a team's adjustments.
Well, I don't know how many times they've had an H-back with the tight end back there either. They haven't shown that very often.
Yeah, now here they are, and I thought this was unsound. We're running a play we run a lot of. We run this, and we run the heck out of this play. Okay, this guy's going underneath here. Okay, so now and you got this guy here is going to cover the tight end in the flat. Now there's nobody containing the quarterback. So, and I like JJ here. A lot of coaches teach Denny to look at the short route first. Look at the short route. Now, he could have thrown this ball right here, probably picked up, maybe even the first down. It looks like he's got a defender behind him here, but our coaches must teach to look deep to short. Some coaches teach short to deep, but JJ's, Coach Harbaugh is a gambler. He probably teaches deep to short. So he throws a dime, and I thought that was an unsound defense, and we made him pay.
Yeah, I thought a lot of the fans after, not in this game, but prior, were wailing about, and I don't know if they had a point or not, that Michigan, every time they were in a pistol, that they were going to run it. Well, they didn't there. They faked it and they threw it. So that was against a tendency, at least from a fan perspective.
Yeah, you're right. Here we go, run the power play. Now, Danny, this power play, it's designed. It is supposed to hit right in here. We're going to down block, and he's going to kick out. The play is supposed to hit here. Okay, that Corum knows that. But if teams are overplaying it, or if they're not gap sound and linebackers are running out and he sees something back in here, they give him the freedom to do that. Okay. So this is a power play, three tight ends. We run the play in our sleep. Again, we run this darn play in our sleep, but Corum sees something. Corum reads it. He sees they're overplaying the point of attack, and he's going to find a little seam back here. And he picks up yardage because they're overplaying it to the point of attack that the coach drew it up in film room all week. And he says, okay, no, I see something back in there. Now he pays for it later. You'll see a play where I think we end up paying for it later. But let's take a look at the next play. This is a play we were showing some jet motion here, and we really put this linebacker in conflict, Denny. So here we got jet motion. Let's take a look at the play. So that's what just that little bit of motion does. So he's got to sit in here, and let's walk through it slow. So he cannot run out of here yet because he kind of has to honor this jet. They could give him the ball.
Sure.
Okay, but he's got to get him once he clears jet. So he's in conflict, right? He's got this, and now he's got this. Same thing Indiana did to Junior last week, right? We want to put these guys in conflict. So he's going to be a slow reacting to this. And this is a good scheme. This is coaching. Okay, so now he's cleared it, but he's two steps behind Donovan Edwards, right? Corum. He's two steps behind Corum because that little bit of conflict, he had to honor it, right? He had to honor it and shuffle, stutter step, boom. Corum's got the edge on him, first down. Great scheme, well executed. Love it. Now, the people a lot of people saying how much they liked, Corum's touchdown run. This stuff is what I love. Now, this guy comes unblocked. We got an unbalanced line here. We're first and goal, and this should have been a negative play. But Corum just this guy comes through, just hits him in the backfield, and Corum bounces off a 270-pound lineman. You know, that stuff to me is so, and then he picks up yards. You know, instead of a negative play, he picks up yards. That's a tough, strong kid there, man. So that stuff is what really impresses me. Now, here we are on the goal line. Now, this is a mistake. I think the mistake is by our fullback / tight end. Again, this is power play, and we're going to get a down block here, and our guard is going to pull, and he's got to read this. He's got to read this thing, and I just don't think we.
This is the one I didn't like. This is they brought El Hadi in here. This was right after that run down to the 2. This was the play call that maybe they were emboldened and said.
Yeah, no, Benny, it's not. It's got nothing to do with the play call. It wasn't executed. We make a mistake here. Okay, he's got to read. Let me show you. Let's go through it. He's got to read the head of the outside defender. Okay, now what is that outside defender doing? We've talked about this. Some people are going to wrong arm, right? They're going to come underneath El Hadi here and make the play bounce, or some guys are going to squeeze, right? We've talked about that. So he's got to read, what is that guy doing? Okay, so he's squeezing. So he should have led through here on the line. There's a little bit there, but not much, but he should have led through there. Instead, he goes outside. And we make this kid look like Superman because we just don't block it right. It's got nothing to do with the play call. The play call should have worked. We just did not execute it. And Joel is up there saying how great a play this kid made. We just didn't block it. And I know I got a lot of lines up there, how easy it is to read it, but he's got to, I'm going to just go slow motion. He's got to read that block by this guard, and he shouldn't have gone outside. He should have gone inside of El Hadi. Go inside of there and lead through on that linebacker. Corum would have gone in. We scored a touchdown. So that's got nothing to do with play calling. That's all about execution.
Yeah, like Joe Klatt says, hey, and that Jair Brown blew that one up. Huh? Okay.
I think, he could say that, but it was more on Michigan not executing. The kid was he was outside taking on a block, and then we put 3 guys on him. We put the tight end. It was not blocked right.
Okay.
This is a linebacker here. This is a safety. We're going to bring a safety. So we got a lot of people here at the line of scrimmage. We got a linebacker right here. He's going to end up dropping. Now, we've shown some of this safety blitz stuff in the past, but here we are using it now. We got 3rd and 4. So, again, this is good stuff. This is conflict. We don't know who's coming, who's dropping, and we get some pressure here. Okay, we get them punting the football. So this is scheme. This is good stuff. Don't hit them late, and we create problems because this linebacker gets in the way of something. And it's good scheme, executed. We're in the right gaps. Good job. And here's throwing the ball to Donovan Edwards. That's Ronnie Bell again.
Yeah.
Let's get run away from unbalance. So here we are. We ran a lot of unbalance against Penn State, and I don't think they lined up very well at times. And so, you run this unbalance. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got 5 guys on this side of the center, and we got 2 over here. Sometimes you run unbalanced, and you want to see how they're going to adjust. Some guys will overplay the unbalanced side, put more people on the unbalanced side. Some people overplay the short side. You just don't know what you're going to get depending on the coach. So they must have made, I don't know if they saw Penn State in the past, but we're just going to run away from the unbalanced here. And we take it, we get a good block, real good block by Keegan and Hayes on this left side. I mean, he's not getting touched. 77 and 76, great job. They're not getting touched. He's beyond the first down before he gets contact, and that was 3rd and 2. So great job by Keegan and Hayes. Great job with the scheme. And, power to unbalance, poor adjustment. So here we are. We haven't run this formation, but maybe once or twice this year. This is some different stuff for Penn State. So we got a receiver here. We got 3 guys on this side of the line of scrimmage and just 2 over here again. Again, maybe they were seeing something with Manny Diaz adjustment that they liked. I like this because we got great angles to run the power play. And they're running a stunt here. They're going to drop him here, and they're going to bring him off the edge, but we block it good.
Got an H-back in there too, huh?
And we got a tight end in here. So, we're pretty much telling them by, where he's cheated this side of the center that we're running, because we've been pretty heavy to the run to the side of the cheated back. But we run the ball and we block it well. And again, a lot of that, again, we want to say how well we blocked it, and we want to talk about how great the running backs are always. But this is a play that I think we give our play. This is the stuff I like, because we give our players an advantage schematically. I like the numbers. I like the scheme. The coaches, we gave our guys the best chance to run a football play there. So that's what I like there.
Well, I got to tell you, I like that one too. When you were showing that, you were saying it looked like they were telling the defense that they were running right over the right side, just like they did down there on the goal line on that 3rd and 2. And yet this time it was blocked, and they picked up 5-6 yards. So
but then the play before, we ran away from unbalanced. That time we ran too unbalanced. So that's what's good about what we're doing. Anyway, this is the stuff that I like that makes I took this view because, we're down in here, man. And look at this. He's hit in the backfield and we score here. And in Honigford, what a great job by Honigford. His guy beats him. He cuts. He's got to do a better job cutting him off. Okay. He's got to cut him off. He's got to try to find a way to. It's tough, though, because he's got, this is the 6-inch line. But Honigford's got to try to find a way to cut him off. But Corum is, this is weight room stuff, man. He gets hit, and then Honigford realizes what's happening. He turns around and pushes his teammate in. I love that play.
Push.
Yeah, the Bush push, man. So that was great there, man. Let's take a look here. What's this here? Where am I at?
3rd.
Oh, yeah. This is Denny. This is
right.
Penn State tackle. Good job. Their tackle does a good job. They pick up what we're doing here. We're they run the same play we run. Okay, so we're bringing him down. We're bringing our edge player down to take the dive. We're bringing our linebacker around to take the quarterback. Okay, but like right now, more should be looking at the mesh point. His eyes should be right on that mesh point, because we don't know if the back has the ball or if the quarterback's going to keep it or if he's going to throw it. But his eyes, regardless, should be on that mesh point. So I don't know what he's looking at. So he's drifting over here. And again, this is man free. We're in man defense, and we got one safety free. People want to talk about zone, why you don't, why, a lot of people like to play zone so much is because of stuff like this. You get one guy out of position, but this is a great job by
Turner
to catch him. But I'm going to run this thing back again real quick, because I think their offensive tackle did a real good job blocking down, and then he just gets enough of Junior there, he ends up blocking too. He helps on the down block, but Junior's got to try. But this is not on Junior at all. This is just a weakness of this defense. But it should have been a play that should have been tackled here, because every defense has its flaws, and this one should have been. They executed it good.
Good fake. Yep, it was a good fake. I mean, when Oak tackled him, I thought he was in Rod Moore's defense. I thought the running back had the ball too.
Yeah, but he sees this play. He's seen it 100 times from Michigan. He sees it 100 times in practice.
Yeah.
He's got to read the mesh point. You cannot go anywhere. He cannot go anywhere until he sees that football, until he knows for sure where that football is.
Yeah, well, he thought the back had it.
Yeah, and listen, the kid's a great player, but this is a great effort here. Gives us a chance. I mean, they needed all 4 downs to get in the end zone. They needed all 4 to get in the end zone, and that's great effort. But we'll get better on it. Man, I played this position, and I know how they're coaching this. This is Mike Morris. He's got to come flatter. The aiming point should be the waist of the tackle, and he would have made this play, because then you got to remember, on the snap of the ball, So if I'm playing this position, my aiming point is right at the hip of this tackle is going to block down. So I'm basically aiming to where he is. I'm going to run into, if he doesn't move, I would run into him. But you got to remember, on the snap of the ball, he's going to block down. So you got to come flat. And he ends up scoring. I think I got a better view of this thing. But I guarantee you, the next time they call that defense and we're on the goal line again, Morris will be flatter. He's got to take a better angle. Okay. Here he is right here. He's got to go, because again, he's going to step down when they snap the football. So if he doesn't move, you'd run into him. But that's not going to happen. See, he's just too wide. That's that 18 inches of penetration over here is what flattens him out, and he can't make the play. Because it's just a game of inches. And if he would have been flatter, he would have made that play. Do you agree with me?
You know what? I'm picking up what you're laying down there. You know, a game of inches. He takes a better angle on that, a flatter line, a better angle. He's able to make that tackle.
All right, Danny, this is what I mean about Manny Diaz. And this is what I like about our coaches. Now, where the heck would you run the football? If you're going to run the ball, count the Penn State defense. Look at the Penn State defenders. Look at how many. Would you run the ball here, or would you run the ball here?
I'd run it over left guard, but
yeah, you'd run it. Look at how many bodies we got. 1, 2, 3. We got a fullback on this side. We got 2 blockers here, and they got all that defense over here. And you know, this is a gift. This is a gift. This is giving your players an advantage, man. Now we run the power play, and they got nothing in there. They got no defense in there. So that's players and that's coaching. So this is why I like Manny Diaz.
Why, you know, Michigan did something similar to that, and it was explained by Joel Klatt that Michigan had brought in Khalil Mullings to spy on Sean Clifford.
That's a different, I don't know, that's a different formation, different situation, but
all right, okay.
That's a whole nother different deal. I like the advantage we had there. Now, this is a play this was the Alex Orji package, this play early in the year. And I told you, this is why I want 2 quarterbacks. This is why I still don't know who the heck our backup quarterback is, because this is a play that, you know, it's a problem to defend. And if they run it regularly, it's a real problem, because it's one of those plays you got to deal with. But I call it the Lamar package. It's now the JJ package. And it's basically power. It's a quarterback power is what it is. We ran it with Orji on the goal line. So there's nothing there. You know, that play, when Michigan State is now seeing this play, they don't like it. I guarantee you their defensive coordinator does not want to see this football play right here. Because now you know, but again, the reason you don't want to run it is because you don't want your quarterback taking hits. But this is a play, again, we run this play in our sweep, this is power, right? This is the power play, right? And all we're doing now is we're running quarterback power. We're going to kick out. He's going to lead through, and JJ's running that ball up in there. So it's the play we've run 1,000 times. We just got a different guy running it, but because of the running it with the quarterback, it just gives the defense a lot of problems. I like this play, man. You know, when your kicker makes plays like this kid, you're making all your field goals, and then you run down. Watch him. He makes the tackle here. You know, when I was playing, we had a punter by the name of Don Bracken. And Bo used to have him occasionally go through some tackling drills. Look at the tackle here. This is a kicker, man. You talk about getting respect from your teammates, man. I guarantee you, when the coaches ran this film, this guy right here is getting some love from his teammates, man. So that's good to see. But anyway, Bo used to have our punter again get some work tackling. This pass protection for Penn State, I was impressed with them. I thought by far they were the best pass protecting team we've seen. And again, this quarterback's ability to run didn't help. But, you know, we're running some stunts in here. This is 3rd and 10. You know, we're trying to get some pressure. We're running some things, and they blocked it, man. They blocked us pretty darn good. I give their coach and their players credit, their offensive line. Now, their run game was not very good, but their pass protection was good. And I just ran that. Let's go to the next one. Well blocked. 7 makes guys miss. Here's a touchdown. But again, Denny, look at when you want to run power play. I mean, the coaches have to be licking their chops because look at the angle. Power play is all about angles. He's got an easy down block. And now they're probably going to pull him to kick out, and the center. Let's see who they pull here. So we shift Donovan over. So we're pulling the center and the guard. Okay, but look at these angles. I love these angles, man. And now he's just going to pull, and he's going to read this thing, and then he's going to read his block. We've ran this play 1,000 times. We run it in our sleep. Look at the big fella on the backside, though. Look at Hayes on the backside, Danny. This is why when people talk about, when people say they, when you look at the recruiting and you got this offensive tackle, he runs this, he runs that. Everybody wants the offensive tackle that's got the athletic ability, to block the edge guy, but also the athletic ability to come up and get on a linebacker, to beat a linebacker to the spot when you run when you want to run the football. So he gets downfield, he beats that linebacker to the spot just enough so Donovan can make this guy miss. And but there's so many players that did a great job there that Donovan gets the love, which he should. But okay, here we go. We're going to run a stunt. I'm not real happy with this. We got a 3rd and 19. The coaches call a great stunt. And now we're bringing this young linebacker. This is his gap. You must know your blitz gap. These guys are outside. Okay, you're unblocked. Go in here and make a sack. But what does he do? He wants to go outside. Now they got one guy is going to block 2 Wolverines. You see that, Denny?
I see. Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, I can see that. Wrong angle.
He should have gone inside. His gap is right inside here. He would have made the sack. Why are you going outside? They're going to coach that up. But he just can't do it, man. We get away with it. We went and beat this team, but again, we're trying to beat the Spartans. We're trying to beat the Buckeyes. And that was a great hit by this kid's playing like a 5-star kid, Johnson.
I love that hit.
So here's 3rd and 12. We're up 31-17. We're in the 3rd quarter, and I like it. Coaches are still throwing the football. Little motion. We got him in zone coverage. And Ronnie Bell here, the captain, shows us how to win a championship. 3rd and 12. He gets hit around and he drags a guy, and I just liked it. Kid's a tough kid, man. Ronnie Bell, captain.
Nice play.
Let's see what we got here.
3rd and 9.
Okay, it's 3rd and 9. Now, if I'm defending Michigan and I'm an edge player, I know this guy can run, man. I know this dude right here can run. Okay, and I know this kid over here is a pretty good athlete, this Hayes kid. Okay, so let's see what happens. So this guy's going to rush him, and you're going to try to go inside. Okay, now the whole deal here is you better beat him clean, and then you got to come out here and get to this quarterback. But Hayes, again, is athletic enough. He feels the inside move. He pins him in. JJ feels it. There's nothing out there. 3rd and 9, we're running for the 1st down. So that is Michigan has done this at times. You heard me yell at our defensive coaches, But this is a great job by Hayes and a great job by our quarterback. And this is why you recruit quarterbacks that can run. That's a great play. That was a huge play. Kept a drive alive. So let's see here. What do I got here? Okay, we're 4th and 1. This is the same drive. Let's take a look at some movement here. Again, launching dudes, man. Just moving the pile. This is Penn State, okay? These are 4- and 5-star kids, right? And we're just moving them. We were 100% on short yardage. So Harbaugh's looking at his notes after this play, and I'm thinking, what is he looking at? What's he writing down in his notes? This is what I thought of. Remember extra stakes for offensive lineman and strength coach.
That's what he was saying. All right.
After that play. So I don't know what he's writing, but what the heck are you writing in your notes there? Anyway, that was a beautiful conversion. Nice little run in here. We're getting a couple more plays. We'll wrap this thing up.
Couple more plays, all right.
Keegan was outstanding. Let's see what this is. I thought this was a BS call, Danny. They're saying that our tight end right here, they're saying that he is lined up on the line of scrimmage. Okay. Now, if that was an offensive tackle, they probably would have called a penalty on him that he was off the line too far. But they say he's on the line of scrimmage. This is the young tight end. I didn't like the call, but he'll learn. He got to move back a couple inches, and that's why they called that penalty on us, because this was a conversion here. JJ throws a nice pass, good play call. This young tight end, Loveland, he's going to be something special too, man.
Yeah, I've seen that play called. What are they? Is your helmet has to be completely clear of the center? I mean, technically, is that what they're saying on that? All right.
Yep. All right, this is new. There's a couple things. There's a lot of things that we did offensively that were new for Penn State that we hadn't shown. Okay, this is something new now. We've run this play with our quarterback keeping the ball here off this action, but now we get a tight end in motion, and then at the snap of the ball we get another tight end going here. So we end up getting two blockers. We end up getting two guys over there. You see how that we get an extra guy in that corner there. So that was something they put in. They've probably been working on it. This is the stuff you work on against Hawaii, but you don't show it against Hawaii. You work on this against Connecticut, but you don't show it against Connecticut. So now we got the extra blocker in there, and coach, the Michigan State's coach got to be shaking his head looking at that. You don't want to see that, because that's a problem. Anyway, I wanted to point him out. I just think Ben Herbert is a great strength coach. I met him. He played for the Badgers. This guy's awesome. He's got a good crew of guys in the strength department, and he's a stud, man. That guy's good. Just want to point him out. Here we are, 3rd and 10. This is we got the game in hand, but I just like Michael Barrett. He's just launching this running back. This guy is not coached by Michael Hart. That's what I got there. I guarantee you that. Because this kid, he don't want to block. Maybe he's a 5-star running back, but this kid ain't playing for Michigan. Watch how he blocks Barrett. Barrett just runs him over.
Ooh.
That's good coaching here, and that's poor coaching here. So that's a good-looking stunt, good-looking, great technique. He gets under him. There you go. Good job.
That's not going to be fun in the Penn State film room.
Oh, no, that kid will get shredded. He will get shredded. And here we go, Denny. It's all about these guys now, man. That's all I got for today. Great job, Michigan.
Awesome job. And I can tell you, watching, the games into the night and seeing that the coaches put Michigan up at number 3 and, Michigan, 7-0. I'm watching, these in some of the years past, you'd watch some of the top teams and you'd see like Alabama, they got Bryce Young, the Heisman Trophy winner. He's making plays. You got Hooker, who's he's got an excellent arm, and man, he can really put the ball in his receivers. And we know what Stroud can do at Ohio State. But one thing like you saw, and you had a bunch of them in there with McCarthy, now running the ball and being the dual threat quarterback. Michigan has a quarterback that, and I'm not saying he's better than any of those guys, but what he can do is he's dangerous, and he's a playmaker at the quarterback position, and it really opens up a lot of things. And that struck me into the night, Saturday night, watching Alabama and Tennessee. It's like, hey, they're not taking a seat to anybody's offense, anybody's defense, anybody out there, any of the teams that are sitting out there. I don't think they're sitting back and saying, shaking their boots about any potential matchup down the road, which is great.
Yeah, those guys are good players, and Saban he'll have his quarterback occasionally do some predetermined runs. He makes plays that are just out of not called with his legs. JJ does the same thing. Our guys as good as both those guys. We just got to give them. We got to give them everything else: the play calling, the line, the tight ends, the back. Everybody's just got to. We just got to keep winning, man. All that other stuff will come in.
Scar, finally get us a pick. I know what are you sitting 6-1 now? You had a winner this past week. If you looked at the menu, for this upcoming.
I had we had Navy last week. They covered at the end, so that's another winner. I like Army. They're giving 7.5. They're at home. Louisiana Monroe. I don't think they worked on defending that stuff. So I like Army minus 7.5 at home. Okay, let's not forget, I picked Purdue to win the West. And they're looking good. A big win last night against the Huskers. And I said Illinois was going to be the most improved team. That's going to be a game for us. The week before the Buckeyes. We've got the off week, Denny. We got to be smart with the contact. Coach has got to be smart. How much hitting do you do? And the emotions of this game again. I just 2 weeks to just sit around and think about Michigan State. It's a challenge.
It's a challenge to me, and wondering if I should just throw everything that I have and mortgage the house on your picks because you've only lost one. And I'll go back. I think you're 7-1 because you started in week 0. I feel like just throwing everything on all of your picks now. The way that you've been on a roll here and just continues on. That's what I'm trying to decide. Scar, great job. Can't wait to talk with you again next time. Thanks for all the film analysis today. It was fun and informative.
All right, Danny, go blue.
There he is, Jim Scarcelli.